Today in election news. ISNA news agency reports President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad blasted his election rivals in a speech in Tehran on Thursday, saying that those who are continuously thrusting their sharpened swords and spears and badmouthing others should know that, quote, the Iranian nation is a follower of the Holy Fatemeh-e Zahra and Imam Hossein, and we have bared our throats for the blows of your spears. In an interview with the Tehran-based Radio Goftegu network yesterday, while replying to the criticisms leveled against him by his competitors, Ahmadinejad also attacked his competitors' supporters, including former reformist president Mohammad Khatami, for their, quote, reactive policies toward big powers. In a part of yesterday's radio interview, Ahmadinejad defended his government's nuclear policy and also his move to establish close ties with Latin American countries, saying that he adopted such policies to foil the desires of major world powers to isolate Iran. He said that the ninth government had gone to what he called, quote, America's backyard, and delivered the heaviest anti-American speech there, whereas some of his rivals in the presidential race, he said, were still unable to understand what is going on in the world. Without mentioning his reformist rival's characterization of his speeches on the Holocaust as, quote, adventurous foreign policy, he said that Westerners use the Holocaust to, quote, falsely portray themselves as innocent and, quote, oppress other nations with it. But he said, quote, we targeted the Holocaust and they could not even believe such a thing was being done. Because we targeted their weak point, you can see that today Iran carries the same weight as America in its effectiveness in world equations. Presidential hopeful Mehdi Karoubi today warned the Imam Khomeini Relief Committee to, quote, pay attention to everything being done, because he said if the committee's officials are asking people to vote for a certain candidate in return for the money they are offering the people, quote, this is a betrayal of the Imam, and that they must answer to him and the people of Iran. Karoubi added, quote, voting is free and no one can expropriate other people's votes. According to this report, Karoubi, who was speaking at the University of Khorramabad in the western province of Lorestan, also addressed the supervisors and the executors of the election, saying that he will protest against any violation and will inform the people about these. He added, quote, we are expecting them to safeguard the people's votes for the sake of the glory of Islam and the country, and that fraud in the election does not take place at the expense of God and religion. Mohammad Khatami, former president of Iran, on Wednesday evening in a gathering of educationalists, said that a film produced and broadcast which shows him being insulting to Iran's large Azari population was, quote, a montage, and added that it reminded him of similar examples of, quote, bad election etiquettes, while the time when the most important Shiite day of mourning, Ashura, was referred to as a carnival in a film meant to defame him during the 1997 presidential campaign. He rejected this film's content and said it had construed montage film, and added that he honored and respected all human beings, especially Iranians. He then said that he was even more sensitive to being honorable and respectful toward the Azari population and towards other ethnic populations of Iran. Khatami next said it was not possible for a person to have an ounce of decency and not bow down to this part of the country. He then expressed regret that this film had been made with the aim of affecting negatively the proportion of votes that Mir Hossein Mousavi, a candidate he supports, would receive. He also expressed regret about what he called, quote, the practice of vilifying one's election opponent, and said he wishes they would just take advantage of the facilities, even if they did so incorrectly. He emphasized, quote, in their publicities they act cruelly and unsportsmanlike, and this is a sign of fear. The managing editor of the hardline Kayhan newspaper, Hossein Shariat-Madari, who was speaking today in Isfahan province's Sayed Mosque, criticized the supporters of Mir Hossein Mousavi, a candidate in the June 12 presidential election. Shariat-Madari said, quote, you wear a green shawl, a reference to Mousavi's campaign color. A green shawl is surely not holier than the Quran, and they have to put the Quran on the spearhead. One must see what is the essence of the deed, and if the appearances are matching the essence or not. Referring respectively to the Umayyad Caliph, whom Shiites hold responsible for slaying Hossein, the Prophet Mohammads' grandson, and the Caliph, Omar, whom they view as a traitor to Muhammad, Shariat-Madari said, quote, let the enemy rest assured that the king will not return. The scene is Ashura, but this time it is not Imam Hossein who is being martyred. Rather, it is time for the annihilation of the likes of Yazid and those under the influence of Omar. alluding to criticisms from President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad's election rivals, who said he has failed to confront what he called the oil mafia. Shariat Madari said the critics prevented Ahmadinejad from confronting the mafia. These stories and more at TelevisionWashington.com.